I guess you can tell how often people read the speaker's memos about where, yeah, you read part of it, where these things become optional. Yeah, what you like, where these things become optional tomorrow. Yeah, March 1st, which is tomorrow. Just wanted to be sure everybody understood that, so that when you get on the House floor today, it's still mandatory. Okay, Mr. Green, you can take your mask off while you talk if you open us with prayer.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, as we come into thy capital to do the people's business, let us be mindful of what we are here for. And Father, we pray that blessings upon the individuals that are elected, that they will make the right decisions. And Father, we ask you to guide us, direct us, and Father, forgive us of our sins and shortcomings. Be with us now, Father, as we go through this week. And we ask all of these things in thy holy name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Oops. All right. You know, the other day when I was sitting up here, all of a sudden, whoever was speaking showed up on these screens, including myself, like it scared me to death because I was the first one to talk. Oh, that was not neat. I don't know who pulled that off, but it was not neat. Okay, we got a few bills that'll have to be presented today. I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to start off with the committee members. Y'all can just stand over there for a while. Start off with the committee members. Let them present theirs first. So I'm going to start off with Chairman Hitchens. What's your number? Okay, go ahead. It's House Bill 439.
It's the fourth bill down, House Bill 439 under modified structure rule. Essentially what it does is it requires the use of ignition interlock devices for the first time driving under the influence for 6 months and 1 year for repeat offenders.
So after the first time, they have to put an interlocking device on, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Seeing none. Thank you, sir. All right. All the rest of them on the back page. Chairman or Secretary Jaspers, you've got 1292.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. This proposal will allow 4-H club members to be counted present when attending an authorized out-of-school event. And, of course, they have to make up their work. Just for information, 4-H is part of the school curriculum in most Georgia counties and is funded in part by school boards.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Seeing none. Okay. Well, let's go down. I'm going to just go down the order. Hawkins at House Bill 1304. Mash your button, please, sir. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Georgia Caregivers Act. This is legislation that actually looks at an additional type of housing for people that are would normally go maybe to an extended care or nursing home. It's a model they have in Europe, smaller model. So that's what this bill does.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for the sponsor? All right. All right. Seeing none. Thank you, sir. Okay. Is Chair Lady Rich in? Okay. Don't see her. All right. Chairman Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is wish to consideration for House Bill 1351. This bill seeks to carve out the prescription drug benefits from the managed Medicaid companies. Mr. Chairman, you're aware, as well as this member, this House has made great strides, one of the probably foremost states in the nation, to go up against the cost of high drug prices and the unscrupulous acts of PBMs. We've passed many laws. We continue to see the business practices continue, especially in Medicaid in some of our most underserved communities. Based on an actuarial study from Department of Community Health, the carve-out will actually, most likely scenario, save some money to the state. But most of all, Mr. Chairman and members, it creates transparency, total transparency. It also creates access for Georgia's most needed patients so that they can choose to get access, and allows for more of our providers, especially our pharmacist providers, to provide that access. And we believe that increased access also promotes better health care outcomes. So I'll ask for your favorable consideration, 1351.
Okay, any questions? All right, seeing none. You got a question?
Sir, I have a comment on the bill I described. I described the wrong bill.
I was wondering. I've just
I've
looked it up.
I've got one upcoming, so, sorry about that.
I was looking at it.
Can I speak
Are we
to the
looking at
bill?
1304 now?
Yes, sir. Can I speak
Okay,
to
let's
that bill?
try that one then.
Let's do it. I apologize. I got another one coming up. It's sort of similar. This particular bill, what it does is it says that hospitals will speak to the patient as they come in. They will establish who their caretaker is, and then upon dismissal or leaving the hospital, they contact that caretaker and go over the caretaking instructions. This is important because we've got so many people going home, and the wives are figuring out, or even the husbands are figuring out, they cannot take care of their spouse. Part of this is memory, part of this may be wound healing, that type of thing. And at that time, they will go to a continuing care facility and then transition home. It seems that we're having more and more of this, a lot more readmission, especially with the memory care situation we've got. So Hospital Association spoke to the bill and they agreed to it. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Chairman Martin, are you doing H.R. 732?
Chair, so would like me to. Yes, sir, I am.
I would appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, H.R. 732 seeks to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot to allow tax anticipation notes. These are notes that our political subdivisions, cities, counties, and boards of education use when tax digest is slow and tax bills come out late, so that they can continue to operate pending the tax. Here in Fulton County, taxes are normally due in the October time frame. When tax bills come out late, they may not get out until late November, December, and the money might not come in until January. The current requirement in Constitution is those notes have to be paid by December 31st. It doesn't do the boards of education a lot of good to get the tax anticipation note early in December, have to pay it back December 31st, and the tax bills don't actually come in until next January. So what this would seek to say is that they have to pay those notes back in 12 months. They'll pay them back as soon as they can, but it allows them to pay them back after a calendar year. And we couldn't go to a fiscal year because there are some people who have fiscal years that end there in October. I think Cobb County is one of those, so we didn't want to hurt them. So this doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't allow them to extend and get more credit. It just allows them to make use of the tax anticipation loan. I don't know of any opposition, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any questions? All right, seeing none. All right. Chair Lady Dempsey, House Bill 1355.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a Department of Health bill, and it actually brings into fruition some of the work that we did last year, thanks to your passage of a study committee on lead exposure, particularly in children. The effects are permanent, not reversible. We do have some super sites around Georgia, one very near to us over by Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The lead abatement, the information we found out in the study committee was profound. This will be a start to the work we need to do on it. It will bring into compliance the level of the level of lead in blood for children and the testing procedures for it. There's much more we could do. It also allows for an expansion. There's much more reasonable for abatement processes and notices.
Okay, any questions for the lady? All right, seeing none. Okay, all chairmen come to the front. I just got one? Oh, okay. All right, Corbett up. Oh, yeah. I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. All I saw was him in the back. Okay. Mr. Jones. Yeah, I hear my glasses. It help. I can't see them, put them on, so go ahead. All right, which one you got?
Mr. Chairman, HB 1009, modified structure, fourth from the bottom.
Okay. Why is that important, and what does your bill do?
The bill drives us further into the fourth industrial revolution. For the first time, we will permit personal delivery devices on our roads, our sidewalks, our bike paths, and our crosswalks. Personal delivery devices are essentially robots that allow for logistics and delivery companies to accomplish the last mile.
Okay. Don't see any questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman Dickey, I tell you what, if y'all haven't had him hit any of his peach jelly beans, they're worth dying for. My son goes over to his place while peaches are being harvested and gets some, and he brings me back a little pack of those jelly beans every time he goes.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman. Got my peach tie on this morning.
Okay.
But I come here this morning for HB 1303. 3 years ago, we passed a pilot program for agriculture education in elementary schools, and it's been an overwhelming success, and we want to continue that option for elementary schools in our state to make it permanent, and that's what this bill does.
Okay. I don't see any questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. House Bill 508. It does two things for the music industry. One, it protects acts from imposter acts. So if you've got people performing as, say, the Four Tops, this would protect the original members of the Four Tops or whoever has the rights to those recordings from performing under that label of Four Tops. And then the other issue it attacks is streaming services, third-party music streaming services, making sure they're advertising information about themselves to make sure that they are paying royalties to the artist.
Hold on one second. Mr. Hawkins.
Is that Senate Bill 305, that first section?
Yes. Yeah, it's similar to 305, yes, sir.
The Four Tops.
Yeah, sorry, that's the first thing that came to mind. I was
was
trying to get age appropriate here, you know, I'm doing the best I can. And I didn't bring peach jelly beans, I'm sorry, Coach.
Okay. What was that bill number again?
Looks like it's 666, is it House Bill 666, sorry, sir.
Okay. Goodness. Age appropriate. All right, you're finished. Go ahead.
Thank you,
leave.
Chairman.
Mr. Petrie. Hey, by the way, he's got a really important bill on the House floor today. I think it's 1064.
It is, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the shout out on that. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, members. Really simple bill before you today. House Bill 203 is a specialty license plate bill to create a Tybee Island Lighthouse license plate, proceeds of which will go to the Tybee Island Historical Society, which maintains our lighthouse in Fort Scriven there.
Do you know how many license plates Georgia has?
A lot of them, and a lot of them are not fully utilized, Mr. Chairman. I recognize that. The good news here is we've seen a huge interest in these tags, and we have already pre-sold enough to proceed and collected $25,000. Huh?
Okay. All right, because for those of you who don't know, we have about 250 different car tags out there floating around. Mr. Williams, you got a question?
Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing the bill. Is it not true that until recent years, that's one of the most famous things in Georgia politics, from the Raven Gap to the Tybee Lighthouse?
I think that is correct, sir. Thank you for that.
Just thought I'd mention it, Mr.
I
Chairman.
think that's a very appropriate comment.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, he's the state rep for my wife's brother and his wife, so.
My favorite constituents, Mr.
I'm sure they are. And what's their names?
I just call them dear friends, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We're having too much fun here today. Mr. Chairman Hogan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Rules Committee. Today I bring 13001, the LEAF Act, and what this does is try to prohibit the doing away with gas leaf blowers. We've got 19 states that have already banned it, but leaf blowers are very important to the agriculture of this state and also to the landscapers. We got thousands of people in the landscaping business, and the battery-operated leaf blowers just does not do the job.
So you're saying that we cannot ban gas leaf blowers?
I'd like not to.
Okay. What about?
Because they're very important.
What about edgers and hedgers and?
This does not cover that at all.
Just this only?
They already have gas.
Okay. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Hogan, thank you for bringing the bill. Can we do something? I'm in support of the bill, but could we do something to make those mufflers a little bit more robust on those things, especially on Saturday mornings?
About what time do they start up in your community?
Well, you need to have an ordinance from your county or city that said 8 o'clock at the earliest. Okay, thank you, sir. You got another one or just that one?
Thank you.
All right. Chairman Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Second page, fourth from the bottom, House Bill 1379.
Okay.
All right. What we're attempting to do with this bill is to establish a Georgia Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Commission. We're setting up the membership of the commission, the compensation. We're authorizing them to accept funds and then to receive grants from local law enforcement agencies to help fight motor vehicle crime and fraud, insurance companies, title fraud. It's what we're attempting to cover in this bill.
Okay. Well, I see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see. What you got? 1084 or something like that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'm here to present.
By the way, for those of you who don't know this guy, I think it's your first time here?
Yes, sir. This is my first rules presentation.
Mr. Wade? Okay. House Bill 1084.
Thank you very much, sir. House Bill 1084 is a bill that is going to do basically three things. I want to line that out. Defines 9 divisive concepts that shall not be taught in Georgia K-12 schools. I want to highlight that this will not prohibit students or educators' First Amendment rights, nor prohibit the discussion of history, the good, the bad, or the ugly. And it would ensure that teachers would do so in a professionally and academically appropriate manner and without espousing personal political beliefs. And the last thing the bill does is provide a process to address issues or conflicts surrounding those 9 defined divisive concepts, first at the local school level, then the local school board level, and then worst case, if necessary, it would go to the State Board of Education. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just trying to understand you, Mr. Representative. You do know that you went over the time limit for first time. It's 10 seconds, but I have a question about your bill.
Yes, sir.
You said that it protects First Amendment rights, and you went through a line of things it will not do.
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out what you're trying to do. When you say on one hand, no effect, and on the other hand, is it kind of based on who's doing the defining?
So my goal personally is, and this may sound like to some people a lofty goal, but I have a prayer and a dream that we can end racism in this country. And I believe to do so, one of the best places to begin that process is in a K-12 setting. As a former school board member for 15 years, a son of 2 educators, and a spouse of 1 over 21 years, the 9 specific divisive concepts outlines specific language to address all children of all races to ensure that none of them are pitted against each other based on their race.
Very good. No more questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, what's your bill, Mr. Slains?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is House Bill 925, which is about 5th from the bottom on page 1.
Okay, tell us why it's needed and what your bill does.
Sure. So the judicial retirement system currently has a prohibition on post-retirement benefits, also known as a COLA, for members who've joined the system after 2009, July 1st. This would simply eliminate that prohibition to allow the Board of Trustees of the system to grant, if their system is healthy enough, which it was cited in committee as one of the most healthy in the nation, it could be granted to all members, not just a specific set. It's been requested by the judicial retirement system, and have a letter if you'd like it.
Okay, you got a question. Chairman Martin, is that you? Yes, sir. Okay, go ahead. Whoops. Well,
retirement? Thank you for the clarification. It was requested by the Council of Superior Court Judges of Georgia, who represent the Superior Court judges for the state.
And not the Board of Trustees of the retirement
Yes, sir.
system. Are you aware of how and when that 2009 date came about?
I was not around, but I have been told that it was similar to other post-retirement benefit restrictions placed during our financial difficulties during that period.
In fact, isn't it true that it was placed in House Bill 452 in 2009 so that it impacted the stopping of the COLA affected no one currently employed at that time, but everybody that was employed as a judge after that was affected, and everybody came in eyes wide open that there would not be this opportunity. Isn't that what that bill would do?
I'm sure the gentleman is very well aware, and I would agree to it.
Are you familiar with the sponsors of that bill?
I'm not.
The second signer on that bill, Mr. Chairman, was a gentleman that sat up there for you a long time, knew a lot about retirement. The former Rules Chairman, John Meadows, was the second signer on that bill. And I remember that thing pretty clearly, that he didn't want to take anything away from the current folks in the system. But in fact, isn't it true that he wanted to protect what had been promised to those that were in the system? And by doing, and by limiting going forward with people coming in eyes wide open, we further protect the opportunity for that benefit to in fact be given to those that had it prior to 2009. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
okay, don't see any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ridley.
Good morning. I bring to you House Bill 1349. It's on the back page, about the 5th from the bottom on the modified structure. And this bill does one thing. It's no net loss for hunting. So all those emails you've been getting, this will stop those and then start going over to the Senate. But this is all it does is change the date from, we had to update it to July 1st of 2022, and it'll just protect all of our hunting properties that we have in the state of Georgia.
Okay, don't see any questions. Thank you, sir. Mr. McDonald, I think you got 1216 or something like that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I've got House Bill 1216, which is page 2, 6 from the top. House Bill 1216 is a Department of Public Safety bill that increases the penalties for eluding a police officer. in 4 different tiers. It increases not only the fines, but the time you have to serve. It also, if you elude a police officer the 4th time, for the first 3, it's an aggravated misdemeanor. For the 4th offense, it is an automatic felony. Anytime during offenses 1 through 3, it can become an automatic felony if you cause another accident, laying a drag, reckless driving, drive on a sidewalk, or hit somebody. So it automatically becomes a felony. Also, this bill, impersonating an officer, for many years, you only had the vehicle using signage to impersonate. Never had anything about a blue light, so this does add a blue light in the code.
Mr. Setzler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the gentleman, so I want to understand this. So for a first offense of drag racing, where the individual seeks to evade the police officer, that's a felony?
Yes, sir.
That's a big policy step for this General Assembly to say evading a police officer is a felony. And again, you've got this underlying, and what were the predicate offenses you talked about? That if this first offense, you get a felony for evading arrest. What were those other offenses, if you would?
Reckless stunt driving, laying a drag, overtaking a stop school bus while their signals are out, driving on a sidewalk, and causing accident of another vehicle.
Okay. So I just wanted members of the committee to understand. Again, I appreciate the gentleman's candor. I mean, if you reckless driving as it's some level of speeding, if the way you're operating your car is erratic or otherwise alleged is reckless, then you've got or if someone were, if it were DUI and it was pled as a reckless, a resisting arrest. And resisting arrest is a pretty low fact pattern as well. I just want us to understand this is a big policy step for a General Assembly to think about it. I just wanted to make sure I understood your bill.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Bonner.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I've got 2 bills to present this morning. Both are part of Governor Kemp's legislative agenda. The first is House Bill 1178, which is on the back page, second one down. It's titled the Parents' Bill of Rights. This bill seeks to bring together parents' rights and put them into code, and then to provide a framework across the state for parents to request information about what's being taught to their kids in our public schools.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any questions. Next one.
The next one, Mr. Chairman, is House Bill 1302. It's at the very bottom of page 2. This is returning $1.6 billion in surplus to taxpayers of Georgia. So qualified taxpayers that have filed their 2020 and 2021 returns will receive this credit. It'd be up to $250 for single filers, $375 for head of household filers, and $500 for married couples filing jointly based on those 2020 returns.
Okay. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On 1302, sir, I know there was some rationale, but if a duly qualified person to get an extension, why not include approved extensions also? I've had a little problem getting in by April 15th, and you say get an extension. So just tell me what was the rationale there.
You are able to, you would still qualify if you did file an extension, a qualified extension.
Okay, good. I didn't know
Sir.
that. Okay, all right.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Gullett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I have 2 bills, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
The first one is House Bill 1085, the very bottom of the first page. And it's related to instant runoff voting, also called IRV. Today, that's already as part of SB02 for military and overseas voting. So, what this is doing is extending it to municipal elections if the municipality opts in. So it's completely voluntary. What they would do is they would draft a passage of an ordinance to say we're going to do an IVR voting, and it must be adopted 180 days prior to the election. And this will save municipalities money today. A lot of municipalities use plurality, and this would now go to majority after the IVR happens. So, IRV happens. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from anyone? Okay, thank you, sir.
Second bill is the very first one on the last page. It's House Bill 1145. And what this does is it adds death by COVID-19 as a qualifier of the death benefit for the State Identification Fund. And we have limited exposure from the dates that started in March of 2020 through December 31st, 2021. It's just syncing up our federal language, the federal language with the state. Happy to answer any questions for that one too.
I see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Jaspers, would you go over House Bill 895 for Mr. Crow, please?
Oh, excuse me. I thought I was doing 1194.
He's already done that.
Okay. I'm not prepared for that.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, so I guess we can set the calendar for the 22nd legislative day, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, March 1st. Yes, sir.
I'd like to request HB 839, the incorporation of the city of Mableton.
Okay. Any other requests? Anybody want to put their Setzler?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request HB 839, incorporation of City of Mapleton.
Okay, anybody else want to put their name beside the bill? All right. Okay, I guess we can set the calendar for the 22nd day, which is March 1st. Y'all looked at the weather? You know, March can have some crazy weather in it. Beware of the odds. The next 2 weeks, low is going to be in the 40s in Columbus. That's all right. My plants are loving it. Okay. Let's go ahead and set the calendar for tomorrow, and we'll start on the back page under the structured rule. House Bill 1302. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Next one, HR 732. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. It's on. All right, House Bill 1303. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. What I'm probably not start needing to do is just say if I hear a move and a second, I'll just say it's on. We almost had a long 3-day weekend. Okay, House Bill 1292. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. House Bill 1194. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. It's on. House Bill 1188. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. It's on. Front page, House Bill 1009. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. House Bill 974. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. That's your calendar for March 1st. Let's go over one more time. 974, 1009, 1188, 1194, 1292, 1303, HR 732, and 1302 under structured rules. That's it. Thank you all. Hey, you don't have to wear your mask tomorrow if you don't want to. Have a good day.